Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson in a bad situation because you got two guys that could really rush the passer. That's a lot to do with the offensive coordinator / head coach not putting those guys in great positions.
All right, so you're giving those guys a partial pass because they were up against really good pass rushers. I can understand that.
I've been in that position, man. I've been played against Derek Thomas, and you're asking me to go out there and block Derek Thomas one-on-one through the entire game, and me not having a chance to go out there and put my hands on him and run block him. I mean, that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? That's putting me in a bad position. So I understand being in that position, how that could be. Going against Bruce Smith, and you don't allow me to at least come off the ball, put my helmet right in the middle of his chest, and drive him off the ball, dump on his head 5 yards down the field. That's not cool, man. That's not fair at all.
It is Birds 365, a Wednesday edition. Johnny Mac just shuttling guys in and shuttling guys out. We got a big shuttle coming in here, and looking forward to spending the next 55 minutes or so with my buddy Barrett Brooks from the Middle and NBC Sports Philadelphia. Are those reading glasses or those shades? Are you wearing shades inside again, Brooks?
These are blue glasses. It keeps your eyes from getting all messed up when you're watching these laptops all day.
Okay.
We spend a lot of time watching the laptop, so I'm trying to keep my eyes from getting headaches and things of that nature, man. So
good for
that's
you.
why I wear them.
I take off my reading glasses, so if you see me wiping my eyes and or holding my sheet up because I can't be able to read it, it's a little more difficult without the glasses on. But good for you keeping yours on. All right, here's where I want to go first with you, Barrett. I'm tapping into not only the great job that you do with NBC Sports Philly and with us on the Middle, but your former player status. Let's say you're a player like, since we'll pick one on the Eagles right now, in a specific position as far as it goes, length of time with the team, position on the team, contract status. I'm going to make you Jordan Mailata, okay? 7th round draft pick. Knew it was going to be a learning curve. They had him on the roster, never played him. Took forever to build him up. Got him to a point where you got him into games. Started to show a little bit. Has a competition for a starting job this year. Wins it. Not even close. Dominating over Dillard. Good enough that the Eagles make a commitment to him with a contract going forward. His status with the Philadelphia Eagles. If he thinks what the Eagles are doing on offense right now is just not working, whether it's scheme related, whether it's his teammates related, the results are in, it's not getting the job done. How does he voice that within the organization? Does he go to his position coach first and say, here's what would, and I'm just telling you what I'm seeing out there on the field. This doesn't work. That doesn't work. I'm being asked to do this. This guy's not holding up his end of the bargain. Does he go to the offensive coordinator and go, I know what you're doing, coach. I guess the offensive coordinator, you go to Shane Steichen before he goes to the guy who's actually calling the plays, Nick Sirianni. How does a guy with Mailata's status, because if you're a rookie, probably they tell you, shut up and get back out there. If you're a guy who's been around for a long time, been a Super Bowl winner, contributor like that, you're going to have a gravitas with your opinion that others aren't. I like the little kind of middle of the road Mailata position. How does he handle getting his message across if he's seeing issues with the scheme the offense is running?
Well, he already voiced his opinion. He's actually the first one to really say anything about what other teams are seeing from this Eagles team. He said that, it seemed like when he went out there, they knew what he was doing before he was doing it. And that just comes from there's no sauce, there's no pep to the offense. They're running very bland plays that they keep running over and over again. Now, if you were one of those teams in which they, I've been on a team before. We took 5 plays and we ran those 5 plays from different formations, different personnel packages. But we ran them so well that, we didn't worry about it. That was when I was with the Steelers. We had basically like 5 run plays and 5 pass plays, but we were running them in so many different variations that teams couldn't get really a grasp on it. But if they did get a grasp on it, we were so good that it didn't matter. We were just going to punch you in the mouth and keep on moving. But we don't have that type of team here. We don't have the athletes that I had when I was with the Steelers. So if you look at, him as a player, he's like, well, I just said that they know what's going on before it happens. Um, why are we still bumping our head against the wall? He can say that now. He has enough juice to say that now to the offensive line coach, not necessarily to the head coach. But at this point, it really doesn't matter because the offensive line coach is the tenured guy there. He's the guy that should have the most juice as far as how things are going, and to listen to him. He's been there for ages. I mean, he's a pretty smart guy. I mean, he's made this team who they are with the offensive line. So he should go tell him. He should be the barometer on how things get done from this point going forward. He should have a lot of say-so on what they're going to do, what developments they're going to make in this offense as they go forward. So he should voice his opinion to his coach. His coach is the guy.
All right, and he voiced his opinion to the media, and that's certainly the message you hope got across to the coaches. That really they can see what's coming ahead of time. So that's another way that you can attack it. Since I brought up my lot, I'll ask another question here, and I stood by what I said then, and I'll stand by it now. When they made the decision, when Lane Johnson came out of the lineup, they just to start threw Driscoll into the mix at right tackle. When they had the whole week to be able to make the judgment and Mailata came back, they decided to move Mailata to the other side. Basically comes down to who do you want to play, Dillard or Herbig? Even though they're two completely different positions, you got to make a call between each of those two guys. My choice would have been to leave Mailata on the left side. Just leave him over there. You just paid the guy. You got faith. He's your left tackle going forward. Don't move him just because he's shown enough flexibility to move over there. That's why you do it. And then, oh, by the way, he got abused when he was playing at right tackle. Didn't really work out too well. I would never moved him over. I would have just plugged Herbig in. The Eagles went differently. Now this week, Mailata gets back over to left tackle because Lane comes back. And, oh, by the way, he didn't play well on his usual spot either. He was getting beat badly. I get how difficult the task is it for a guy to move from one side to the other, from inside to outside. Some of us don't comprehend it because we never played in the trenches, certainly not on the National Football League level. On any level, I never played in the trenches, so I can't relate. I need you to relate for me. How difficult is that to do? And when you start doing it, do you run the risk of potentially hurting the guy in a couple of different positions?
You know what? It's not going to be – it's not hard for him. He just had to get back into practice of doing it. That's what he did, his entire career being in the NFL. For 3 years, he was the guy that flip-flop back and forth. So we learned both ways on how to play the game. It's very hard for a guy like Dillard to do it because Dillard played left tackle his entire career, and that's what position he learned. So he's so wired to just being on the left side that it'd really be a hard transition for him to go to the left side. It was hard for me when I first did it, my fourth year in the league when Trey Thomas came. He was like, hey, Trey's the guy now. Trey, as soon as they said, we picked Trey Thomas as pick number whatever it was, from that point on, I knew I had to go out there and start, practicing my right-hand stance, my right-hand sets. But I eventually learned, and it took about a good 6 months for me to get comfortable enough to play in game-type situations to go in and play like that. It took a while for me to get my mind to really focus on, my strong hand being now my left hand, and then that's basically what it is. The inside has to be your strong hand, and the outside, you have to be ready to fight with. And that's the difference, from flip-flopping both sides. Your power foot is your inside foot as opposed to being your outside foot. Your kick foot, get it moving faster than your inside foot. All those things have to take place. So it wouldn't be hard for Jordan to flip out back and forth. He had a couple plays when he was at the right side in which he messed up, but that's going to happen. On the left side, he's good to go. He'll be good to go. But it just so happens sometimes you get the bear, sometimes the bear gets you. And that's what happened to him this last game. He just lined up against some really good pass rushers. I mean, those guys were good. And the offensive coordinator / head coach didn't help him out by not allowing him to use his strength. And that's him using his athletic and his power and his girth to come off the ball and hit a guy in the mouth for run blocking. That's the problem. When you have guys that can rush the passer like that, you don't keep passing the ball. You run the ball a little bit just so you can have these guys thinking, all right, I don't want that, 380 pounds leaning on me like that, coming off the rock on me like that. They didn't experience it enough. So they kept just passing the ball. So they just put Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson in a bad situation because you got two guys that could really rush the passer. That's a lot to do with the offensive coordinator / head coach, not putting those guys in great positions.
All right, so you're giving those guys a partial pass because they were up against really good pass rushers. I can understand that.
I've been in that position, man. I've been played against Derek Thomas, and you're asking me to go out there and block Derek Thomas one-on-one through the entire game, and me not having a chance to go out there and put my hands on him and run block him. I mean, that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? That's putting me in a bad position. So I understand being in that position, how that could be, going against Bruce Smith, and you don't allow me to at least come off the ball, put my helmet right in the middle of his chest and drive him off the ball, dump on his head 5 yards down the field. That's not cool, man. That's not fair at all to put your guys in those types of positions.
I understand where you're coming from, and I think your stance is fair. Then let me ask you this. Before the season started, most people, yours truly included, and I believe Barrett Brooks, said one of the things the Eagles have going for them going into the 2021 season is the trenches. They're good in the trenches. Their defensive line got X amount of sacks last year. They were in the top 10 in the NFL in sacks and pressures and everything. And they've got everybody back this year. Understood that the middle was the main strength with Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave, but their defensive end's good enough. They're going to get to the quarterback. They're going to put pressure on the quarterback. Brandon Graham goes down. Pressure on the quarterback from the defensive end stops. Not just slows down, stops.
Gone. Yes.
Josh Sweat has 1.5 sacks. Derek Boyd has the same as you or I, 0. They go pick up Brian Kerrigan from Washington, who, hey, Jody Mack, guilty as charged, thought it was a nice pickup, got him for a fair price. He's going to come in here and help this defensive pass rush. Zippity-doo-dah. He doesn't even get on the field anymore. What the hell has happened to the Eagles' defensive ends, Barrett Brooks?
You know what? It's crazy that, one guy can have that much of an impact on, whether we get sacks or not. Brandon Graham just goes to show how good of a player he is, in which everything is dictated by his performance, him coming off the ball, him being that hammer on the defense. It seems as though he's that guy that pushes everything. It's just like when you watch Lions hunt, female Lions hunt, you have one female lion go out and start the chase, and then from out of nowhere, the other pride members come. It seemed like that's what Brandon Graham is. He was that one lion that would chase everybody into the rest of the pride of lions. So there's nobody now to be that spearhead to press the quarterback and put him in a bad position so the other guy can come eat. That's not fair, but that's what's happening. That's what's not happening. They are not generating any pressure from the outside, and and it's hurting his defense. You have athletes right now in the corner positions in which you can really pretty much do what you want to do. You just don't have the defensive ends rushing the passer well enough to make a positive influence on where the ball is going. They can take all day to throw the ball, and you saw that in this last game. Carr was back there unmolested, just sitting back there doing nothing. Not running around and just executing his offense to perfection because he had nobody in his face in the pass rush. It's crazy, man, that BG had that much of an impact on this team.
All right, I want to get your take on the Eagles and how much running they will do of the football this week against the Detroit Lions before we just get into the whole matchup against the Lions and start to get your feeling on whether the Eagles are going to be able to get a road win this week. Running the football. The coach was coming under fire. He doesn't run it enough. Way too few running plays. Just putting Jalen Hurts out there with a target on his back in his run, the whole RPO aspect of it. Most people, or like 95%, go, yeah, come on, Nick, wake up. You got to have run balance to be able to pass the ball as much as you want. So he listened, and he did. First drive against the Raiders this past week. Shocking. Quarterback under center. You mean he can really just hand the ball off to Miles Sanders and let him move the ball? Look good, work good, down the field, touchdown.
Right.
Possession, he kind of got away from it. Okay, fine. Yeah, the other team scored.
No, he didn't kind of get away from it, bro. He got away from it. You know what? Damn running the ball. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to pass the ball. And what happened? We got smashed.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't do it. You can't have your defense out there for that many set amount of plays. You know, this 3 and out is getting old for the defense. And soon they're going to start saying stuff. You know, Fletcher's already started, you know, talking about it. It's a shame that Fletcher is getting all this, you know, brought on him when he's being vocal. He's probably talking for half the team when he's saying what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? He's saying what he's saying, not just for himself, but for a lot of guys on the team are thinking the same thing. Why are we not getting put in a good position? You know, the offensive line needed some help. They weren't playing well. So you put them in a better position. You run the ball. That way those smaller defensive ends can now meet the fury of 380 pounds laying on top of them. That's how you equalize, you know, them coming off the ball and pass rushing. You run the ball. You put them in a better position. Don't keep, you know, allowing those guys to feast. That allow them to keep hunting, rushing the passer. You put some weight on them, man. You hit them in the mouth. You let your offensive line dictate it. I mean, you have a country boy sitting there at left guard who's ready to come off the ball and run block, has a nasty disposition. But you're gonna keep throwing the ball, put him in a bad position. You know, it's really that basic. It really is. You know, he can say all he wants to say about, you know, well, you know, the defense didn't dictate. Well, you don't let them dictate to you. You dictate to them. You run the ball. And it wasn't like they were up, you know, that much early. You know, we were up.
Offensive linemen prefer to run block than pass block? That's only been the case since, forever.
Novel idea, right? Run the ball, you know, and you showed the success they had in the first drive. That's what made me mad, because you show me, you dangle it in front of me, then you just take it back. You know what I'm saying? You just take it back and not do it anymore. And then you'll say, all right, then, oh, well, you know, Miles Sanders wasn't hurt. It does not matter. You can use other guys there. You have talent there. You just chose not to do it. You chose not to run the rock. I mean, you mean to tell me that, you know, Scott couldn't go out there and run in between the tackles? He did it all last year. He didn't stop learning how to play the game. You know, he can still play the game, and he's pretty damn explosive still. You gonna tell me Kenneth Gainwell couldn't go out there and get his fair share of carries and make it happen? And then the guy's like, oh, he fumbled. That happens, man. He's a young guy. It happens. It happens to veteran players. But run the ball. It doesn't matter anything else. Run the ball. That defense was primed to get the ball run on them. They were the 25th ranked defense against the run. You know, they let more guys run on them 100-yard rushers than just about anybody in the league, and we don't do it. You know, that's poor execution. That's a travesty for this offensive line to be put in that position. It is. It just doesn't make sense to me. You know, so until we start running the ball consistently, we will continue to lose games consistently.
All right, so let's look ahead to this week against the winless Detroit Lions as far as the aspect of running the ball goes. Detroit's not great at stopping the run. They're not great at stopping the pass either. So I don't know that there's one preference. You're right. The Raiders are kind of stuck out. They're pretty darn bad against the run, and the Eagles didn't take enough of an advantage of it. You should be able to move the ball against Detroit however you see fit, because their defense isn't that good. Last week when Miles went down, Boston Scott actually got more carries than Kenny Gainwell did, which I think is somewhat telling. I think they want to use Gainwell out of the backfield, catching the ball more than just handing it to him, which I kind of agree with. But they may add Jordan Howard from the practice squad. All 7 games this year, they've gone with 3 backs on the roster on game day. They haven't necessarily used all 3 backs. Boston Scott missing in action, but he wasn't this week. Got a chance to play, and you're right. He made a couple plays, and he did what he did last year. It isn't like we're bringing a wet behind the ears, never played before guy in. You're bringing a guy who has gotten a job done for them in years gone by. Is it going to be Boston Scott this year, or do you think they turn to a guy like Juwan Howard and say, if we're elevating him, we're playing him, and we're going to turn around and give him the football plenty?
Well, they should, but I don't know what this play calling. You know, I don't know what they're going to do, man. Because at this point, They shy away from conventional wisdom so much that you can't really make an accurate assessment on what they're going to do. Besides, they're going to run the ball. I mean, they're going to pass the ball. They're just going to pass it, period, point blank. That's the only thing for sure that I know that they're going to do it 80% of the time. And that's so telling about an offense. That do you know they're going to pass at least 80%, 70 to 80% of the time, man. I mean, come on, man. And then your leading rusher is your quarterback. It is not schematically him taking the ball and running a designed run play. It's him improvising because the defense knows what he's doing. They understood how to stop RPOs for 4 games straight, and we still ran RPOs as the major focal point of the offense. You just don't do that. That's not fair. You're asking this young guy to take control of this entire team, put it on his back on every single play. Give him a time to relax, man, by letting him hand the ball off. You know what I'm saying? Watch the game from perspective behind. You know, watch those guys that get paid to run the rock. They didn't allow him to do that. You know, they put this guy in a bad position. You know, you're still not going to see what Jalen Hurts brings to the table because, you know, the game plans that they're implementing aren't good. And if a defense comes out and counters it, you got to have a counterpunch to counterpunch their counterpunch.
Yeah, I've had this debate with my partner Johnny Mack, and see if you fall down more on my side or his side. I think I'm pretty sure you're going to fall on my side because A, number one, you're that smart, and B, you just kind of tipped your hand there a second ago. The whole RPO thing, the reasoning behind it is it's simplistic. That the quarterback only has to read one defender, and that will drive his decision as to whether to hand the ball off or pull it back and either make a play with your arms or eventually make a play with your legs. I get that. It's not something that's terribly hard, but it is a decision. When you call a running play, put him under center, turn around, hand it to the running back, there's no decision. You just do what you're told. You run the play the way it's designed to be run. One decision, it will always be more than no decisions. So we want to talk about simplifying. Oh, RPO is simplistic. Yeah, but it's less simplistic than just turning around and handing the ball off. So why are they doing this to Jalen Hurts?
I don't understand it. Well, I mean, I do. They want to put the ball in his hands because he's a good athlete. I mean, he's a guy that can go out and make some things happen with his legs. He has a strong enough arm that he can make some things happen with his arm. You know, you're trying to get the best of both worlds in one play. I understand all that. But I said it's time and time again, defensive coordinators get paid millions of dollars to stop plays like that. And that's exactly what's happening. I mean, it's so simple. All they're doing is taking the defensive end and crashing them down, which makes the quarterback pull the ball because that's the guy they're reading on the RPO. So the R part of the RPO is the run. So they crash the end. That takes away the running of the RPO because he's going to have to pull it because the defensive end is going to go and tackle the running back. So then you go to the P aspect of it. Defensive coordinators, when they crash that end down, they're scraping a linebacker around. Number one, his first job is to tackle the quarterback. His second job is to be in that passing lane for the pass. And also they're bringing down a safety to get in the passing lane of the dig route, the slant route, or even a comeback route. And the corner is playing tough on whatever side the running back is on. He's playing up tight. So that takes away the P side of the RPO. So now they're taking a run pass out of it, the pass out of it. Now it's the option now. Well, the option is now you're making your quarterback freestyle. That's the only option he has. He has to freestyle. So we talk about Jalen Hurts not being, in an offense in which, he's directed to go this way, and that way. No, he's improvising. He's playing schoolyard football. He's out there trying to make a play where there was no play because the defense took it away from him. How fair is that? You put him in a position to fail because defensive coordinators know how to stop the play. Period, point blank. You showed it time and time again. They know how to stop it. All you got to do is slant a guy, scrape a guy, and drop a guy down in the hole. And you essentially taking that play, put it in the quarterback's hand for him to go out there and freestyle on that play.
Barrett Brooks here with me, Jody Mack on Birds 365. We've talked a lot about the quarterback position and what has happened. I want to get Barrett's look into the future on what will happen with the quarterback position. Rest of this year, Jalen Hurts, maybe a Gardner Minshew. And then where do the Eagles go in 2022? Come back, talk more quarterback with our former Eagle and middle host, our buddy Barrett Brooks, here with us on Birds 365.